Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you what I keep inside of my backpack. And this is like my medical backpack, but I carry it with me all the time because I am hooked up to my feeding tube 24 hours of the day, every single day. So anytime I leave my house, it goes in this little backpack. But I also keep anything medical-wise that I need on a daily basis or in an emergency situation. I keep all of that in this backpack. So I'm just going to go pocket by pocket. The first pocket is not really like medical stuff. This is where I keep all of my like personal stuff. So it's this front little pocket here. And I keep lots of gum. So since I can't eat very much, I love to chew gum because I can still have the flavor, but it doesn't really make me sick. So I always carry some gum with me. And then chapstick and headphones. The chapstick is pretty explanatory, but the headphones, long car rides, doctor's appointments, or just if I find myself somewhere where I have some free time and I want to listen to some music, always have my headphones with me. Also, actually the most common place that these get used is at a doctor's office where they're taking a long time and I'm just stressed, so I put in my headphones and listen to music. So that's what's in the front pocket. Okay, so in this next little pocket right here in the front, I have my wallet, which also has my medical ID on it. This is one of the medical IDs that I have. In case they were to open my backpack or something like that, they could find this, which needs to be updated. I just updated my medical band after I got my port and my other feeding tube because it still said I have a PICC line and an NJ tube, so I'm like, I gotta change that, but I have to remind myself to change this. So yeah, it has my, obviously, money in it and medical ID. Which, tip for you guys, if you're like me, anytime you're looking for like a medical ID tag or a medical ID bracelet, I have a lot of information that I need to write on it, so just the little ones where you can engrave like 3 lines on it isn't gonna work. So what I have is I have a medical band where it buckles like this, and then it actually has a piece of paper on the inside that slides out, and it's actually like a piece of paper that's folded up, so I have a lot of space to write everything that they need to know on it. And for the one in my backpack, it's one of those phone cases where it's like the plastic screen that you put your phone in so you can like still use it while it's in your wallet. And I just put a piece of paper in there with a medical ID on there, and that seems to work. That way I have enough space. So there's a tip for you guys. And the only other thing I have in that pocket is my ID card. This is for school. In order to get into classes, you have to show your ID. So got that in there, and that's what's in that pocket. Now the other pockets are what has my medical supplies in it. Okay, so now for the big pocket, which is right here. So the first thing that I have in there is my feeding bag and my feed pump. I have the Enterolite Infinity pump, is that how you say it? And I have the little small bags, so I'm hooked up to this 24 hours of the day. So typically it's on my IV pole when I'm at home just because it's easier on my shoulders and back to not carry a backpack. But when I'm out of the house, obviously it is not very practical to carry an IV pole, so it goes in this little backpack. So that just sits in there and the tube comes out the side. So my feed bag's always there. And then I have Zofran and a little syringe. So most of my medications go into my feeding tube so that they're absorbed faster, because if I were to take a pill, it would sit in my stomach for hours and hours, and my stomach doesn't really digest food properly, so it doesn't really digest medication. So as many medications as I can go straight through my J-tube into my intestines, where then they can be absorbed. So I carry Zofran with me because one of the things that happens with gastroparesis is you get very nauseous. So if I'm out somewhere and I suddenly find myself in a situation where I feel like I'm going to throw up, I can quickly take some Zofran and hopefully avoid that. So always keep that in there. Then I have my blood sugar meter. I have always had trouble with my blood sugar since I was born, basically. I have a condition called severe primary IGF-1 deficiency, which, fun fact, is a rare form of dwarfism. That shocks a lot of people, but I will make a whole nother video about that, explaining why I'm normal height, yet also I do have a rare form of dwarfism. Hint, hint, a lot of medication. But anyways, so that has always caused me to have really low blood sugars, and before I got my feeding tube, I was at a dangerous point where I had to be checking them several times throughout the day. And now I just carry it for if I feel low. And also, I use this to test diet soda at a restaurant. So for those of you with type 1 diabetes, one of you guys actually gave me this tip. I have a condition called mast cell activation syndrome, which gave me an allergy to dairy and sugar. So if I were to order a diet soda, because even though I have my feeding tube, I am able to still drink some things, and diet soda is one of the things that I can have. So if I go out to a restaurant, I obviously can't order food, but I'll get like a diet drink of some sort. But what would happen is if I didn't get a diet drink, I would break out into a red rash and get hives, get super hot and really itchy, and be very, very uncomfortable, and I would get really bad abdominal pain. So it's very important that I get a diet drink, not a regular drink. And sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes you'll order a diet drink at a restaurant and it'll get mixed up and you'll end up with a regular sugary drink. So in order to avoid that, I actually use my blood sugar meter. If you put the strip in like you're going to test your blood sugar, but then dip it in the soda, if it's diet, the meter will read low, like just LO, meaning that there's no sugar in it. Versus if you were to dip it into a regular soda, it would be in the 300 to 400s. So that's actually a really nice tip for you guys. If you can't have regular soda, you can tell by your blood sugar meter if it really is diet or not. So I always carry that with me. And then I have my VOG mask. So this is my VOG mask. So I carry my mask. I'm going to take it off so you guys can hopefully hear me a little better. This is also to do with my mast cell activation syndrome. Anytime certain smells or like smoke set off an allergic reaction. It's a mast cell activation reaction, which is kind of like an allergic reaction. But so if I were to go into a shop that had a bunch of perfume or soap or something like that, I would instantly get a migraine. And so in order to avoid that, I'll put on my mask. But the biggest reason is for smoke. So anytime I inhale any sort of smoke, whether it be a bonfire, cigarette smoke, if, heaven forbid, the building I was in caught on fire, my chest would become very tight and it would just burn and it would leave me very sore for days. And it's more than just like coughing when you breathe in smoke like a regular person does. It physically makes my chest go super tight and feels like my entire respiratory system is on fire, and it's very uncomfortable. So anytime I'm around any sort of smoke, I have to put this on, otherwise I can have a really hard time breathing. So I always have that with me. And also for if this is going to be a longer video than I thought, also if I'm at the hospital or someplace like that, I am on steroids, so that lowers your immune system. So depending on where I am in the hospital, if I'm in a particularly germy area or if there's a lot of sick people around me, I will put this on because of the steroids that I'm on, they lower my immune system, and if I were to get sick with like the flu or something like that, or a cough, it could easily become much more severe and dangerous. So just to avoid that, I put on my mask. Then I have my emergency port supplies. So this used to be full of PICC line supplies, so a central line emergency kit, but now it's full of all of my port stuff, which I would show you guys my port, but it's not accessed right now. If you watch my surgery vlogs, you can see it accessed. But anyways, so this has everything that I would need if almost anything went wrong while I was accessed. So if my cap were to fall off, I have extra caps. If for some reason I was infusing and it got clogged, I have a syringe to try to unclog it. or if for some reason the line were to rupture, I have a clamp and then I could de-access, or if my clamp were to break or something like that. Basically, it has everything in there in case everything went wrong. Luckily with a port, if for some reason everything went wrong with the needle and everything, I could just take it out. But we try to avoid that if possible, because whenever it's in, that's because I need it in. So yeah, basically I have everything in there in case something went wrong that I would need while I'm out. So then I have tape, and this is both for my port and my feeding tube. So for my port, I would use the tape if my dressing would start to come off. Then I would need to tape down the edges to avoid it all peeling off, and then I would have to de-access because it would no longer be sterile. So that's what I use it for my port, and then I use it for my feeding tube so my feeding tube is secured by tape onto my skin so that if anything were to pull, it wouldn't pull directly on my stoma, it would just kind of pull on my skin. But if for some reason that were to fall off, I have tape, so that way I have a backup in case that happens. So that's all that's in this pouch. So then on the back there's a little zipper that runs along the side, and inside of here I have baby wipes. So, alright guys, this is a little story time. So those of you with feeding tubes understand that no matter how hard you try, occasionally your feeding tube will leak. And that is, one, it's embarrassing because not only are you then soaking wet, but also it kind of smells. So I've had a few situations where I've been out and all of a sudden my connector to my feed will somehow fall out and feed starts rushing out of the feed bag end, and as gross as this is, intestinal juices or stomach juices will start pouring out of the end that is inside of me. So then by the time that I typically notice is when I start to feel wet. So then I notice that I'm covered in sticky, smelly, gross stomach juices and formula. So I've had that happen a surprising amount of times, and I haven't even had my feeding tube for all that long. But after being in several of those situations, somebody told me to carry baby wipes in my bag, because whenever that happens I would rush to the bathroom and try to clean it off with like paper towels, but I would still be left sticky and wet. So somebody said baby wipes, and this actually works so well. So because like stomach juices and bile are coming out, they can actually kind of burn your skin and make you really itchy. And it's hard to really clean your skin with paper towels, especially if you're just like in the bathroom. You can't just like strip off all your clothes and clean them. So baby wipes tend to do that really well. So I always carry these with me because whenever that happens, unless you have a spare change of clothes, baby wipes is the next best thing. And unfortunately my bag is not big enough to carry a spare set of clothes, and it's too hard on me to carry a bigger backpack, so yeah, baby wipes, important. So yeah, that's everything that I keep in my backpack every day, both like personal things and medical supplies, things that I would need in an emergency or just things that I would need while I'm out. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and comment down below what is in your medical bag if you carry one. I'm always curious to see what other people carry, and if you have any other tips. Like, I was lost before somebody told me to carry baby wipes, which is like, thinking back, a genius idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it. But yeah, I like sharing tips with you guys, and I want to hear from you guys. So if you have some awesome thing that you carry in your bag that you found super helpful, let me know, because I'm always looking for things that make life easier. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more video requests, comment them down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for more updates, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!